Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I am going to continue with your same module, that is the research skill, and the same chapter, that is the chapter number 5, that is before the research. So what are the various steps that must be taken before the research, that is the chapter number 5. So let's start with the previous class session, that is what we have covered in the last class. Then move to today's topic, that is what is the motivational technique that is used for the student. So how to motivate the student, or how the teacher motivates the student. So let's start with the previous class session, what we have covered in the last class. In the last class we have started with the various steps that is used in the various activity that is used in the research skills. So these are the various steps. The first step is the curriculum objectives. The next step is the student needs. The next step is the resources. The next step is the research skill. Next step is the implementation. So these are the 5 steps that must be undertaken. The first step is the curriculum objective. So what is the curriculum objective, or what is the main objective, why we are studying this chapter, or why we are studying, or why we are doing the research, that is the curriculum objective. Then next is the student needs, that is the need of the student, that must be, or what are the needs of the student. Then step number 3 is the resources, that is what are the various resources that is used in this one, what are the various tools that is used in this one. Then step number 4 is the research skill, that is what are the various skills that is required for the research. And at last there is the implementation. This is the preparation for the research, that is how to prepare for the research, right? These are the various steps that is used in the research skill that is used. So one is the curriculum objective. The next is the student need, that is what are the various student need that is used. So what are their needs, then resources, then what skill should I teach, that is what are the various skills that is required. That at last there is a implementation, that is how to implement the content, that is how to implement the criteria, right? So preparing for the research. Some steps that mirror the research model and stages and that have been proven to be successful by implementing are the various steps. So these are the various steps by which we can eliminate the content, by which we can get the content. So these are the various stages and these are the various skills that is covered in this topic, that is covered in the preparing for the research. That is what are the various topics that is covered in this one. Then what do you have to help me with my research activity, that is what is the main activity that is carried out for the research activity. So the junior high school studies provides the following suggestions for initiating a research activity. One is a library research, that is the student would be asked to taught how to gather the information, not to assign a task, but they also taught how to gather the information from the different places, and they should be given a practice for developing a research question by doing it as a class and proceeding to the question thinking of their own. That means they are proceeding for the questions that is taken up for their own. And two steps are also important, as two steps are also taken up in researching the material. First is compiling the question before the that is what you think about the compilation the questions before the research. So there is a one step, that means when we compile the question, when we move the question, compile the question before the research, this is also one of the activity. And the answers questions in own words, that means answer the question is in own word, that means there is no copy and paste material, but you can answer the question in their own words or make the notes in the points form, that is using the footnotes. And by teaching the students how to do the written assignments, both the research and the writing, plagiarism may be eliminated, that means the repeated words may be eliminated. And these are the various steps by which how to write the assignments. The first one is the planning. For the planning, there are two steps for the choosing a subject and then develop the questions for the research. That is, first of all choose the subject, what is the main subject, then develop a question for the research, that is what are the various questions that is carried out, that is developing a question for the research. That is what are the various questions, that includes the what, who, why, where, when, how. So this is how to develop the question in the research in the planning activity. The next is identifying the sources of the information, that is how to identify what, or we can say the next phase is the identifying what are the various sources that is used for the information, that is identifying the sources of information. Then locating and gathering the information, that is the next part, that is how to locate and how to gather the information, that includes the print as well as the non-print characters. Then the reading part, that is used for the interpreting, that is how to interpret what are the various content that is used, that is the reading. That includes three parts, that is the main related ideas, relationships, cartoon, pictures, maps, etc. Then listening and the viewing, that is also used for the interpreting, and that includes three parts, the point of view, purpose, bias, slant. Then Organizing the information, that is how to organize the information that is carried out, that is organizing the information that includes the classifying, categorize and the sequence. That means how to organize, that means how to make the systematic arrangement to organize the information, right? And then analyzing, evaluating and summarizing the information, that is the seventh part, that is how to analyze, how to evaluate and how to summarize the information. That is the main part that includes or that covers the conclusion, generalization, decisions, etc. Now, what do you have to help me with my research activity? That is a conclusion of, that is a checklist of the before one, that is the above one. So the following checklist will assist the teacher in determining the focus of a research activity. That is, what is the research activity, how this is or how these activities can be carried out. And these considerations should be used to design the research activity that includes all the research stages and the skills. That is, what are the various stages that is used for the research activity and the stages. This is the teacher guide for the planning research, that is a checklist. These are the guidelines and the considerations. The first is the assignment, that is a curriculum fit, then format, then research procedures to be taught, then evaluation, then purpose. In the purpose there are four methods that is introduced, that is a introduce, to introduce, review, expand the information, to focus. That are the four parts of the purpose, that is what is the main purpose of this. So there are multiple parts that is used for this one. Then next is for the student. So one is guideline for the assignment, that is the assignment should be correct. It must introduce a purpose, that it must satisfy the purpose by which we are writing. Then review the assignment, then expand the information and the knowledge. Then what are the guidelines to the student, that is ability and the stage of the development, that is what are the various stages of the development that is carried out, that is the ability and the stage of the development. Then learning preferences, then social groupings. This is the one of the important points. So there will be a grouping that is known as a social grouping, that is also carried out by the student, that is also the consideration by the student. Then next is the cooperative learning skill, that is what are the various cooperative learning skills that is carried out. So there will be a cooperative, that means that there will be cooperation among the teacher, student as well as the teacher, librarian. Then what are the various resources, that is also the guideline. So resources includes the school library, other libraries, teacher librarian, other resource people, community, others. So these are the various resources that is used in the guidelines and the considerations. The next is the goals, that is what are the various goals that is used. So on the basis of the concept, what are the various goals to apply or practice the research procedures. That is this is the concept that is used, that is how to apply or practice the research procedures, that is a concept. And to improve the decision making ability, that is how to improve, what are the various decision making abilities that is carried out. Then skills, to plan for the research, that is to plan out what is the research or how to plan out the research. Then to work in a variety of social situations, that is what is the main social situation that is carried out. So what are the various skills required for the social situations. Then to support a personal opinion, that is to support a personal opinion, that is what are the various criteria by which they are carried out, that is to sort out a personal opinion or plan out a personal opinion. Then attitudes, to develop an appreciation for the knowledge and the culture, to develop the cooperative learning skills, to experience the pride in creating a product, desire to improve the future efforts. That is, what are the various attitudes to understand the valuable and the effective research procedures, that is also the attitude. And to appreciate the need for the lifelong learning skill, that is what are the various lifelong learning skills that is required to appreciate them, that is also the part of the attitude that includes in the goals. This is one of the category, that means there are multiple people, they have a different attitude, multiple self motivation power, that is also covered in this. Now what else do you have for me, that is what are the other activities that is carried out except these activities. So what else do you have for me? So planning a research assignment includes all the research activity and all the stages that is covered, but there are few left stages that is also covered in this one. This is one of the example of the sample research activity unit plan. This is the subject. Subject is the language, arts and the health. That is the English is also used for the health. That is the language, arts and the health. And the theme is the foods. That the topic is the foods. And timeline. That means what is the time duration that is given. That is the 3 weeks, 1 hour per day. That is the timeline. Then grade is the 3. That is the grade that is available. That is the 3. Then stage 1. That is the planning. So that is the first stage, that is the planning. In this there are multiple topics that is used. So first is the establishing the topic, that includes or that takes the 30 minutes, and there are various strategies that is used for establishing the topic, and these are the various resources for establishing the topic. Then identify the information sources, that is what are the various sources that is used. So that is identifying what are the various sources by which we can gather the information. That is also includes, or that's also of the 30 minutes. And these are the various strategies like brainstorming the information that is required, browse through the sources, that is what are the various sources. So browse means searching for the sources. Then students select the foods to study and locate at least two sources, that is identify what are the various resources, what are the various sources that is carried out. So identify the at least the two sources. And then identify the audience and the presentation format, that is what type of audience are there and what is their background, what is their level of understanding. So there are a list of the presentation format: posters review, mobile new, illustrated, report review, diagram review. These are the various identifiable audiences and the presentation formats. Then establish the evaluation criteria, that is what is the evaluation criteria by which we can evaluate the content. That is establishing the evaluation criteria, that includes the brainstorming and list by priority the evaluation criteria. So take the priority method to make the list of the evaluation criteria. The next is the review process, that means taking the review, that is a review process that includes review the research plan with the students to identify the important steps in the planning, that is what are the various steps that is used in the planning. Then check each student source list, that is what are the various source lists that is used, that is check out what are the various sources that is available. Then that is a stage 1. There are various phases. Now the stage 2 is the information retrieval, that includes three parts. One is the locate resources, then collect resources, then review process. And the locate resources of 20 minutes, the collect 20 minutes, review 20 minutes. In the locate resources there are various strategies like review use of the table of the content index, then instruct the student how to load the previewer, care for the film strips, use the VCR, use the audio cassette recorder. Then in the C part there is a review process that is over 20 minutes, that is review what has learned about locating the information, that is what has learned about the locating the information, that is the main part. Then elicit the suggestions for different resources, that is what are the various resources that are available, that is also a part of the review. This is one of the strategies that is used in the review process. Next is stage number 3, that is the information processing, that is how to process the information. So first part is choose the relevant information. So choose the relevant information out of the available information. So review note making by modeling how to select the information on a sample food. Use the note taking sheet on overhead, that is use the note taking sheet, that is what is a note taking sheet, that is used for the overheads. Then B part is evaluate the information, that is what is the information that is evaluating, that is evaluate the information. So that includes the distribute the note taking sheets and have a students begin to gather the information, that is evaluate the information. Then organize and record the information, that is the C part. So that includes the assess students individually as needed, that is how to assess the student in an individual way as needed. Then D part is make the connection and the inferences, that is what are the various methods by which we can connect the contents, that is the make connections and the inferences. Then create the product, that is of the 1 hour. The students draft the presentation format. So student also draft the presentation format, that is what is the main presentation format by which we can apply for the, or by which we can represent, that is how to create the product. Then at last there is a revise at the edit, that also takes 1 to 2 hours. Then includes review the editing skills, focus on the content, that what is the content. Student provide the answer to all three questions. Student prepare the final draft for the 1 or 2 hours. Then evaluate written product, that is what is the written product, how it is carried out, that is evaluate the written product. Then last step is the review the process, then review what was learned and discuss transferability, that is what was learned and how to discuss, or what to discuss about the transferability. Then stage number 4, that is information sharing, that is how to share the information. The first step is the present the findings. That includes how to review the presenter and the audience skills. Then students practice presentation with the buddy. Then that means there is a peer group entities that is carried out, that is used for the peer group entities. Then students present the information, that is 3 to 4 days it is presenting the information. Then focus on the positive comments of the question, that is what are the various positive comments that is carried out for the comments. Then teachers evaluate, that is how the teacher evaluate the content, what is the evaluation criteria that the teacher takes to evaluate the content. The next is demonstrate the appropriate audience behavior. That is what is the demonstration part that is used for the appropriate behavior. So in this, the student respond in the written methods, and there is at last there is a review process. That means what are the various reviews that is used for the presenting and discuss the further application. And then last step is the evaluation. In this there are three parts, that is evaluate the product, that is evaluate without taking the assignment. So evaluate the only the content without taking the assignment, go through the assignment. Then review steps in the research. Then elicit what was learned during the research activity. Now what about more directed to help my student, that is what about more directed to help for my student, that is what is the main direction that is given to the students. So when a teacher develop a research activity that includes all stages and the skills. So if a teacher develop any activity that includes all the stages that we have discussed and all the steps and skills that is we have discussed, the students are often asked to provide a plan for their research. So students are often asked how to plan a something, or how to plan up, or how to provide a plan for their research. Now, what is the plan out that is motivated the student, or what is the plan that is taken out for their research? Now, first plan is requires the student to summarize major procedures that he or she will follow in researching a topic. That is how to or require the student to summarize the content, summarize the procedure that is taken out that he or she will follow in researching a topic. So requires the student to minimize or summarize the major procedure, that is what are the major procedure that he or she will follow. So what is the procedure, what are the step-by-step sequence that the student will follow in researching a topic. That means there are multiple stages, like first of all do the planning, this is then next is the information retrieval, then information processing, then information sharing, then evaluation. So advise the student to summarize the major procedure that he or she will follow in researching a topic. That means do the step by step, not doing that processing will take place before the planning. No, the processing will take place in third phase, that is the main step after the planning, retrieval and the processing. And then contains those elements that are determined by the teacher or teacher librarian and those determined by the student. So contains those elements that are determined, so that means take up the element that are determined by the teacher or the teacher librarian and those determined by the student. So this is also the planning activity that gives the direction to the student. So that means take out the element that are determined by the teacher, what are the various elements, what are the various parts that is carried out, and those determined by the student. The next is provide the reference point to guide the student research. That means provide the reference methods, reference manual that is used to help the guide the student. That is how to get the points, how to make the research activities. So they provide the we can say the research activities, reference point that is used to guide the student research. Then serves as a checklist, that means serves as a checklist for the student or the teacher or the teacher librarian to ensure that it is appropriate and that the student has a good chance of succeeding. That means provides a checklist. For example, if I'm a person, how to do something. For example, if I'm applying for the birth certificate, so I have to give the checklist that these are the various documents that you have to submit for taking the or for applying the birth certificate. So in the same way, we are applying, or the teacher are applying, or the checklist is available for the teacher or the teacher librarian to ensure that it is appropriate and the student has a good chance of succeeding. That means there is a student that is a good chance of the succeeding, that is provided by the checklist that is given to the teacher or the teacher librarian. Then gives a focus on or gives the focus for self-motivation content. That is what is the self-motivation content that is carried out. So gives a focus on the self motivation content, that is how to self motivate the content, how what are the various skills required to self motivate the content. Then that includes the information as well as, so what are the various information that is carried out, so include such informations in the checklist, in the evaluation procedures, like the student name and the grade, that what is the student name, what is the grade. Then study theme, that is what is the theme that is used for the content, that is a study theme, that is study the topic, that is a study theme. Then topic on or the thesis statement, that what is the main topic, and provide the thesis, that means provide the mini model, prototype model, that is a thesis statement. Then subtopics for the research, that is what are the various subtopics that is covered under the main topic. Suppose my main topic is a research skill, but the subtopics are the various stages that is required for the skill, that is a subtopic for the research. Then resources needed, so what are the various resources that is required. Then subject heading and the cross reference for the search, that is what are the various subject headings and what are the various cross references that is used for the search. Then next is the final presentation format, that is one of the important part, that is the what is the final presentation format and the material and the equipment needed, that is what is the presentation format that is required and what is the main material, or we can say the final material and the equipment that is required or that is needed. Then next is the guidelines or the requirement, that is what are the various guidelines that is used, that is also direct the student or direct the teacher, that is how to deal with the various situations, various scenarios, that is the guidelines for the requirements. Then next is intended audience, that is also provide the intended audience, that is what is the audience that is carried out, that is the intended audience. Example, the teachers, individual students, various groups, individuals, group outside the group. Then next is evaluation criteria for the process and the content, that is what is the evaluation criteria that is carried out for the student or the for the process and the content. The next is a timeliness, that is a very important concept, that you should or the teacher or the student should follow the time management. The time will be managed, or there will be a proper timing that is managed for the time management for the every task, every activity, every step that must be taken in the time. So every activity that is taken out within the time, that is a timeline, that is a time management. The next is approval, if required through conferencing with the teacher or the teacher librarian. So if there is a approval that is required, so take that opinion, or take that conference or take that approval with the help of the conference with the teacher or the teacher librarian. That is also one of the important concept that is used for the approval or the teacher, that is used with the conference or with the teacher or the teacher librarian. The following sample student research plan form has been developed by the teacher who are experienced in integrating the research. That is what is the various research that is used, that is carried out in this one, and the blank form is found in the appendix. So there is a blank form that is available, but this is a filled form that is used. That is a sample student SS research plan. So this is one of the research plan that is carried out. The stage number 1 is the planning, that is the first part, and these are the various topics. So first of all, there is a name or the grade. That what is the name, what is the subject, what is the grade, that is a grade 7, the name is Rob Merthanson, then subject is the language arts, and grade is a grade 7. And what is the theme, what is the main topic, that is the communication or the messages, that is what is communication, or what are the various messages that is used for the communication or the messages. So first part is the establish the topic, that is the first part. Then identify the resources. So this is one of the we can say the sample student research plan that is carried out. So first stage is the planning. Yeah, hi Joseph. Hello. Hi Joseph, are you able to hear me? Hello, 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 hello Joseph. Hello. Hello, hello Joseph. So this is the sample student research plan. These are the various, we can say, how we are planning for the research activity. That is a sample student research plan. So this is the name, subject, and the grade. The name is the Rob Matterson. The subject is the language arts, and the grade that is given is the grade 7. And what is the theme that is available? What is the topic that is available? That is communication or the messages. That is how to communicate the material, or how to communicate with various materials, or what is communication? What are the various messages? The first part is establish the topic. That is the first part. That is how to establish the topic. The topic statement. This is the topic statement. This is saying that I'm going to research how the dolphin communicate. That is how the dolphin communicate. This is the topic statement, or we can say this is the scenario. This is the explanation. Uh, so Joseph, tell me what's an issue in the task one. You have to submit the assignment in the task one in the presentation format. That is the in the PowerPoint format, in the PPT format. All right. So you have to submit in the PowerPoint format. Yes, Joseph. How are you? Yes, hello, Joseph. How are you? Yes, Joseph. Tell me. Yes, Joseph. Tell me. Yeah, in the task one, it is saying that you have to submit the assignment in the PPT form, presentation form. Hello? Hello? Yeah, only task one. This is your assignment. This is the create the presentation. Yes, the task number one is creating the presentation. And the task two that is given, that is not in the mandatory that you have to submit in the PowerPoint. No, but you have to submit in the Word format also. Hello? Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, are you getting Joseph what I'm saying? Hello, Joseph. Okay, Joseph, in the first task, you have to, yes, that will be on the PowerPoint. Otherwise, you have to take the MS Word, anything, any software that you need. All right? Yeah, MS Word, yeah, it's okay, not an issue. No, 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 you cannot do the task one in MS Word because this is only saying that creates a presentation. All right? Okay. So the next topic or the next part that is given is the establishing the topic, that is how to establish the topic. So this is one of the scenario that is given. This is a topic statement, that is I'm going to research how the dolphin communicate. So because our main topic is also the communication or the messages, and this is a scenario, this is a statement that is given, that I'm going to research how the dolphin communicate. I will find out how many make and receive the sounds and what the sounds mean. I will also cover the research being done with the dolphins and how it might help the man to communicate with them. That is how to use with them, how to make the dolphin communicate, and how I will also cover the research being done with the dolphin, and how it will take the man to communicate with them. So that is how the dolphin communicate, how the man communicate with the dolphin. That is the topic statement. Now, what are the various subtopics in the main topic? One is a dolphin message sending, one is the dolphins message receiving, one is a research with the dolphins, one is the man dolphin communication. So these are the four parts, four subtopics that is available. So the first part is dolphins message sending, that is how to send the message, or what are the various dolphins that is sending the message, that is a message sending, that is the first part. The next is a message receiving, that is what are the various dolphins that is used or that is available for receiving the message. So some dolphins are used, or some dolphins are available for sending the messages, and some dolphins are available for receiving the messages. So that are divided into multiple topics. The next is research with the dolphin, that is make the research with the dolphin, that is how the dolphin works, how the dolphin appears, how the dolphin sends, that is what, why, when. These are the various questions that will be answered. The next is the man-dolphin communication. That is how the human being will communicate with the dolphins in an efficient manner. That is the man-dolphin communication. The next part is the subject headings. That is an dolphins purpose. This is the purpose. The spelling is wrong. This is purpose. That is the purpose. Then animal communication. Then mammals, ocean, marine life, question mark. These are the subject headings that is given. Either we can use the subject heading as a dolphins, purpose, animal communication, mammals, oceans, marine life. The next is identify the information sources. That is what are the various sources that is used, or what are the sources that is available for communication. That is identify the information sources. What are the various sources that is available? That is books in the school library, then magazines, then video oblique films, then dolphin trainers. That is what are the various resources. So what are the various books that is available in the school library? What are the various magazines that is used to gather the information, collect the information, identifying the information sources. Then next is what are the various videos on the films that is available, that is also acts as a resource for the research. Then what are the various dolphin trainers that is used for the dolphin method. So that is the dolphin trainer. So who trains the dolphin, that is the dolphin trainers, right? Then these are the various resources that is used, that is identify the information sources. So these are the various resources by which the student will categorize, that is how the dolphin communicate, how they work, that is the various categorization of the dolphins. The next is identify the audience and the presentation format. That is what are the audience, that is categories of the audience. So identify what are the various audience and what are the various presentation format that is used. So presentation format and the needs that is used are the poster boards, that is the assign boards, then instructions with the assignments, write up, and 3 to 5 minutes talk. That is the presentation format and the needs that is carried out. So one is the poster board. Then what are the various instructions that is used with the assignment, then write up, and the 3 to 5 minutes talk. Then the need markers, glue or the tapes. These are the various needs that is required for the presentation formats. The first is the poster board. That means the whiteboard or the green board is required for presenting something, that is the assign. Then instructions with the assignment, that is how to do the assignment. What are the various parts by which we can assign the things, that is the instructions with the assignment. Write up, and 3 to 5 minutes talk. That means instruct the assignment, write the various steps, and there are 3 to minutes overview buffering, or we can say the how to write the assignments. Then next third part is the need markers, glue or tape, get poster board from the teacher or the teacher librarian. So markers are also needed, glue or the tape is also needed, posted card from the teacher is also needed, or the teacher librarian. So these are the various needs that is required for the audience, that is required for the presentation formats. So identify the audience, that is who are the audience, and what is the presentation format that is available, that is the format and the need. So one is need is the poster board, then instruction with the assignments, write up, and the 3 to 5 minutes or 3 to 5 minutes talk. Then the need the markers, that is used for the writing purpose, that is the markers. Then glue or the tape, then get the poster board from the teacher, that is how the teacher will make the poster board, that is available with the poster board from the teacher or the teacher librarian. Then what they need from the audience, that is 3 other students in a class, that the teacher to pick up, that is the requirement of the audience. The next is the teacher, so 3 more students in the class, that is the teacher to pick. The next part is the establish the evaluation criteria, that is what are the various evaluation criteria, or how to establish the evaluation criteria. The first part is guidelines, that is what is the guidelines, and the guidelines in the main, that is the 200 to 250 words minimum. So there should be a minimum of the 200 to 250 words, that is a guideline. Then next is the illustration, that is how to illustrate the contents, that is the illustrations, and that is also the guideline. Then bibliography, poster board, 5 questions. These are the guidelines that is required, or these are the guidelines that is used for the establishing the evaluation criteria. The first guideline is the 200 to 250 words minimum that is required. Then illustrations that is the examples. Then bibliographic, that is what are the various sources by which we can get the information. Then poster board, that the board is also required, that is the poster board. And the 5 questions is also required, that is a guideline. Then evaluation means that if there are notes that is available, that is a 10%. So notes comprise of the 10% out of the 100, that is for the teacher. Then plan, that is a plan out, that is a 10%, that is a teacher librarian, that is also required. Then the poster board, that is a 20%. So poster board also occupies the weightage of the 20%, that is the teacher librarian. Then presentation, that is also the 20%, that is the other student and the self, that is who are the other student and the self categories, that is 20%, that is the presentation. Then next is the information and the language art skills, that is how to get the information or what are the various language art skills that is required, that is the information and the language art skills, that contains the 35%, that is also going to the teacher, that is also categorized of the teacher. Then next is the bibliographic, that is only 5%, that contains only 5%. These are the various weightages. So look, 10 plus 10 20, 20 plus 20 40, 60, 60 plus 35 95 plus 5 100. That means the 100% is divided into these categories. 10% is given to the notes, 10% is given to the plan out, 20% is given to the poster board, 20% is given to the presentation, 35% is given to the information and the language art skills, 5% is given to the bibliography, right? So these are the various evaluation criteria that is carried out, that is establishing the evaluation criteria. The next is the timeline, that is the next part. So what is the timeline, that is what is the how to manage the time, that is the timeline. The A part is the start, that is the November 4. For example, this is the example of the November. Then a topic or the subtopic, so starting date is the November 4, or the topic that is given is the November 5, or the subtopic is given as a November 5. Then the research done is also November 8, that is when the research done is take place, that is November 8. Then the rough copy, that is November 12. Then the final copy, that is November 14. Then presentation, that is November 15. That means these are the various dates. That means we have to follow the time management, we have to follow the time constraint, that is the timelines, that is how to manage the time. So November 4 is the starting, and at last the presentation will be on the November 15. That is 4 5 8 12 14 and the 15 at last. The next step is the check and approve. When it is checked and approved, it is approved and checked by the D Fielding on the November 5, 1989. This is one of the example. This is the main, we can say, the research plan that is carried out. There are various stages. The first stage is the planning. In this there are multiple parts, that is establishing the topic, identify the information sources, identify the audience and the presentation format, then evaluate the evaluation criteria. That is the next part. Chapter number 6, that is the next part, that is putting it into the practice. So whatever we have covered, now put it in the practice, put into the live object, that is putting it into the practice. That is the next part, that is the next topic or next chapter, that is chapter number 6. So this chapter I am going to take in the next class, that is the tomorrow's class. So that's all for today's session. Thank you so much everyone for listening me. And in the tomorrow's class we will taking your, I am taking your next chapter, that is the chapter number 6, that is putting it into the practice, right?